What's up? Welcome to this live stream. I see 5 people, so let's let other people join as well. Welcome. What's up, Ali? What's up, Indigo Fallen? Welcome. Cray, why do you wear mostly black? I don't know. It's been a habit of mine since I was 16, I think 16, 17, 18. That's when I started to wear black for the most part. I don't really know why. It's just one of my favorite colors. My other favorite color is red. Red and black, those are the colors that I really like and enjoy. Maybe it goes well with my temperament, you know. Who knows? Why do I wear mostly black? Yeah. So good question, man. I don't know. I really don't know. But it's true. It's definitely true. You know, there are times when I stand in front of my closet and look from left to right, and it's all just black, dark blue, red, but mostly black. It's true. Yeah. Okay, guys. Well, as usual, you can ask whatever question you have. I'm going to take that question and then answer it. And until then, I'm going to speak on some insights that I had out of my own practice. And since I assume that most of you are practicing magicians as well, practicing occultists, I hope that this insight will be helpful for all of you. Yeah. So, and the insight is the following. I'm a firm believer in destiny, okay? But not in the destiny that is imposed upon you, so to speak. I believe that there is a destiny that you create yourself. The goal of magic is first the realization of your true self and the rituals that you do, the occult practices and the non-physical influence that you attain over the world are stepping stones. They're steps in your own self-realization. Okay, it's a process that leads you to the awareness and understanding that you are not your physical body and that you are a consciousness that has taken on this form temporarily to experience life. And as you come to that realization, you will also understand, most of the time, you will understand that wisdom and strength, power, influence, and all of these things that we're looking for is only attained through pain. This is one of the biggest misconceptions in our culture these days. And see, what I mean is that we live in a culture where the darker aspects of life, the uncomfortable aspects of life, the harsh truths are kind of ignored. Okay, everything is supposed to be convenient these days. Everybody's supposed to be easy, happy, you know, easy, go lucky, and all of that stuff, right? That's what people look for, and that's what people are attracted to. It's. I am sure that natural instincts and natural impulses play a role in that as well, but usually, as you go through life, you begin to understand that everything worthwhile, everything that is remotely valuable is attained through some level of effort and pain, right? So pain is part of life. Okay? Let's look at birth. the birth of a child is an extremely messy and dangerous and, extremely painful affair, right? Now, I will never go through that experience, but I assume that it's not comfortable to press a baby out of your womb, right? Out of your crotch. That must be fucking painful, right? So, through that painful experience of giving birth, a new life is created, and the species can continue to exist in the same or in a similar manner. Everything that we value, okay, everything that we think is valuable, everything that we would like to attain ourselves can only be attained through pain. Okay. Now, like I said, this is something that is being ignored and oftentimes not realized by most people in our culture. Okay, and this is the reason why this culture is actually decaying. It's already destroyed because people are too weak to deal with pain. But the point is this: the greater the pain, the greater the reward, usually. Okay, so what you will realize in your magical journey is that the reason why you sought magic out in the first place, and the reason why you kept continuing, and the reason why you reached the levels that you reached, is because of the pain that was imposed upon you by the outside world. You see, it is literally the case that those that have the most painful experiences, those that suffer the most, those that feel the most pressing need to transform the most and attain the most wisdom and power, you see. So the perspective that I want to give you, the mindset that I want to share with you is this: that I know for a fact that everybody who's listening right now and everybody who's going to watch this went through very, very painful experiences, and you're going to continue to go through all of that. Why? Because it is your higher self that is pulling you towards the end result of what you're supposed to become. And if you're on this path, the occult, magic, witchcraft, black magic, the result will be total liberation and an enormous level of power over the outside world, right? Now, in order to attain that, though, you'll have to go through pain, and the pain from the outside world is often what triggers your transmutation, what triggers your evolution, what sets you onto the path that you need to explore right now. You see, the only way to make it easier for you is to accept that. As soon as you accept it, the suffering goes away, and it's just an experience. Suffering, by the way, guys, comes from the resistance to pain. It's not the pain itself. But the point that I'm making here is this: when you attain the powers of black magic and use them, what you will be left with each ritual, and each ritual will remove a layer of illusion. You will see the reality and life and the circumstances that we exist under here with more clarity, more and more clarity. And what is going to be left is nothing but a pure insight into nothingness, the meaninglessness of this whole thing. Okay, so after every ritual, you'll be left with an emptiness. Even though you get your results, you will be left with an emptiness, and that emptiness is that empty shell that you were before. I mean, you were that empty shell before, but the desire prevented you from seeing the empty shell. And now that the desire is gone, you will experience the emptiness even stronger, you see. And This is going to perpetuate itself consistently, and you will want to overcome barrier after barrier after barrier after barrier until you got to confront something completely different, which is your own mortality. Okay, and once you've done that, you're ready for the real work, which happens outside of your body. Okay, that's so true. My man, my study giving me pain, but I know at the end I'm getting money. It's good. Purpose over pleasure. What's up, brother? Okay, yeah. Nice. Yeah, guys, if you got questions, post them, please. I'll definitely take any questions that I can take here. So let me know what you want to have answered. Hey, brother, I want to buy the Egyptian Book of the Dead. What publisher copy do you recommend to buy? I recommend. It really doesn't matter. The Egyptian Book of the Dead is the same, unless you want it with a commentary. At that point, I don't really have a recommendation for you. How important do you think the subconscious mind is? Your subconscious mind is your mind. There is no other mind but your subconscious. The conscious mind is just what you're focused on right now. But it's essentially nothing. It's just what you're focused on. The subconscious is you. It's you. It's your body. It's your emotions. It's your memories. It's all of it. Your energies. Well, perspective. I mean, I don't understand your question. The perspective of your subconscious mind. Well, look, the task, the task that we're all faced with is to control our subconscious, or rather to create a harmony between our subconscious mind and our goals. And this is what we call a self-determined life. Okay? So self-control. Self-control and know thyself is essentially that. It's being able to control your subconscious mind and to align it with your goals. And if you can do that, you can accomplish pretty much anything. Hey Frank, where can I learn more about Solomon? Google. When writing in your diary, do you write everything that happens, like that rituals, like after rituals, and how your day was, or just your dreams when you wake up? Keep a diary in order to, keep track of your thoughts. Yeah, you look for results of the rituals that you've done. You look for clues in the outside world that could have to do with the rituals that you did, and more. So there's no rule to what extent you should limit it. You can pretty much write whatever you want. I always recommend that people keep a diary, a journal, because it helps you keep stock of your own mind. It helps you understand yourself better. Okay, definitely does. Sure. Frank, why did Egyptians worship cats, and snakes. Well, look, I mean, worship of different animals comes usually through, you know, certain attributes that we give those animals. Okay. Such as, I mean, cats were being worshipped because, I mean, partially because they are um, good at sensing energy, and they're good at being affected by energy, and they're often possessed too. But I don't think that's a real reason for it. I think the the quality that you can't control cats was probably something that made him worship them. Also, and snakes, it's I guess the serpent power. You know, that's where it comes from. I mean, all the teachings of ancient India, they stem from ancient Egypt, of course. You know? So serpent power, Kundalini, and all that stuff was definitely known in Egypt as well. Now, let's see. I see repeating numbers like 666, 555, 77. Have you experienced this, Frank? No, not really. Not really. And I don't look. Don't put too much meaning into these things. I mean, it could mean pretty much anything, unless you're working with a specific spirit that has that number to it or is connected to that number. It doesn't really mean anything to me. You know, if I can make a connection, it's fine. If I just see that number and I can't make use of it, it's really useless. You see, this is how you have to deal with your mind. You know, anything that you can understand clearly is valid. Everything else you treat as if it is not valid at all. Okay, this is important. The way you deal with your mind is you deal with facts, and facts to you are things that you can actually understand, things that you can actually break down, A, B, C, D, and you know, things that you can logically understand from beginning to the end, including its connections to other things you can accept, and those things you work with. The rest is just speculation. You just let it sit somewhere until maybe later it makes sense. Okay, this is how you should deal with your mind. Don't make shit up. Don't just assume that everything is just has to do with some spirit, unless you have clear indications that that is the case. I would ignore that. It's just mind fuckery. It's literally just mind fuckery. And it's really useless, you know. So there's no reason to make the mundane, and there is mundane stuff, to make the mundane spiritual. Okay, what you want is things that you understand. There should be no reason to not understand something. Okay, you've been given a mind that can reason, a mind that can understand, and unless you can understand something, you should ignore it. Okay, ignore it. Things that you don't understand, ignore them. That's what you should do. Do you have unwanted thoughts, like thoughts that don't represent what you want to happen, or your values, but they keep popping up in your head? What's the action in that case? Look, everybody has that, and that's the nature of the mind. It just does whatever the fuck it wants, but your choice at that point must be that you control your mind and think what it is that you want to think. And when I say control your mind, it doesn't mean that you suppress thoughts that come up. No. If you don't like the thoughts that you have, you control them. How? Through your self-talk, maybe you visualize, whatever. There are a couple of components to your thoughts. You know, your mind is composed of images that you see, a self-talk, and emotions that are connected to that. So you can use each one of those to affect your own mind and move it into the direction that you want, you see. And why is that important? Because your thoughts have an influence over your reality. They actually can influence your physical reality. It's not just thinking one thing and then all of a sudden it appears. It doesn't happen that fast, but the tendency, the general tendency of your thoughts will definitely affect the general tendency of your life, you see. So just discipline your mind. Just take control over it. Okay? Take control over your self-talk and understand that you are not the mind, you know. Don't say I am depressed. Don't say that. Or I'm feeling like this, I feel that. No, just say my mind or my consciousness or my mind is doing this right now. My mind is making me feel like this. And that perspective gives you the ability to change it as well, you know, which is empowering. You always want to be at cause. Okay. Remember, you want to be at cause of things. And that perspective puts you at cause. Okay. So if your mind is doing this, well, what can you do then to make your mind do something else? I recommend that you always have great self-talk, great self-talk, great self-talk. How? What does that look like? Well, look, you can definitely listen to somebody as you're doing it to me, and you can think what you want. You're doing it anyway. Something is look. There's always a voice running in the back of your mind, or images, or whatever, right? What stops you from listening to me, taking in all the information that I'm giving you, at the same time thinking that I'm the greatest and everything's going to work out for me? I'm the greatest and everything works out for me perfectly. I'm the greatest, everything works out for me. And you continue doing that. You continue doing that. And you know what you're going to find is your emotions are going to shift. Your internal images are going to shift. And boom, you change your mind. And the energy of the reality that you're vibrating with or resonating with, rather. Okay? So, hello, Frank from Australia. Welcome. Thank you very much for your teachings. I have a question and apologize if it is a stupid one. Can one reach a decent standard of magic without evoking angels or demons? Well, it's once again, it's your definition. What is decent? I would say decent means that you okay. Well, what does it mean to have a decent state of magical abilities? Well, look, at the end of the day, what we do in magic is we're going for self-realization, right? The occult or witchcraft is a path to do that, which entails working with entities. So I would say if you want to reach a certain level of wisdom or a spiritual enlightenment without working with entities like that, angels and demons, you should not be on this path. You should probably be a mystic or something like that, which is fine. Why not? Become a yogi, become a Zen Buddhist or something like that. I like all of those too. Can you use morphic field audio in rituals? I'm not completely sure what that is, bro. Morphic field audio. Do you think the ego really dies? In my experience, it is rather paradoxical, and I think the ego can be reduced and observed, but never really dies. The ego really dies. You know, what context? Besides that, who said that the ego dies? That is maybe that's look, this is kind of like I think I mean to me this sounds like I don't know, kind of like a buzzword, you know. This is stuff like that is being thrown around by people that don't really understand spirituality and they describe Buddhism as you know the death of the ego, your ego dies or whatever. It's nobody says that your ego dies. It's not about letting your ego die. Your ego expands, but not in a way. Look, your ego is also your limitation. So when your ego expands, your limitations expand, which means that it includes everything and everybody. And that's the bigger thing, okay? When we talk about ego, the ego is something that we need it's a protection mechanism. It's something that we need until we're able to understand that we're interdependent, that we're dependent on the outside world. Okay, so let me give you an example. Climate change, for instance. Climate change is a real thing, and if we don't all work together, meaning all people from all countries, there will be no livable planet in 50 years or 60, 70 years, whatever. It's going to be pretty messed up, you see. So at that point, it is crucial that you can let your ego die. Ego means, okay, my interests are not that important right now because I understand that there are things that are more important than me. That's it. And that's some people reach that point, some people never reach that point. I get it. But at some point you should understand that there are more important things than you. And it doesn't mean that your ego dies. Of course, you still have an ego. You understand that you are part of something bigger. And something bigger is more important than you see. So ego death, I don't know. Doesn't make sense. Frank, if you did a love spell with Ishtar, focusing on her sigil without getting a strong feeling of her being there with you, will it work? And what do you do to break it if you no longer want it? Thanks. Look, you got to try it out. I don't know what you did there. Would you break it when you no longer want it? Why would you use it? Why would you do a love spell with Ishtar anyways? I don't get it. Look, she's not like Venus, okay? Even though they will tell you, oh, she's like the Babylonian Venus. No. These entities are different, okay? And I would never do a ritual with Ishtar at all. And how do you break the spell when you no longer want it? If you don't know that, you probably shouldn't do the spell, But the point is this: I mean, if you can make a connection, you can also break the connection. You see, it's not that hard. I'm just scared of working with entities. I've come in contact with a few and was not prepared. It was scary. I love magic, though. I'm doing a lot of sigils at the moment. Magic is definitely my path. Also, I've been doing some psychic seduction. I just want to make sure I'm doing things right. Well, then wait. If you don't feel ready for it, then don't do it yet. It's step by step, Exposure therapy. You'll get used to it. Why does demons and spirits want to work with us? Who said that they want to? You calling them, right? Isn't that the case? You're calling them. Now the question is, do they help you voluntarily, or is it because they have to? See? And it's the latter. It's the latter. See, Lefty Decos, coming back to your question, I just want to make sure that I'm doing things right. It's like fucking, okay? Or it's like really everything else. You can't have 100% certainty. There's always a certain level of uncertainty. But look, you're looking for confidence that can only come from competence. Competence has to be built up with experience, you see? So it's a catch-22. You're looking for confidence that you can only get through practice, meaning competence, but at the same time you're resisting the practice that could give you the competence. So the only way through this is really exposure therapy and step by step doing it. I mean, that's up to you. It's your choice. Yeah, I'm not telling you that you should do it, but no amount of studying is going to give you any certainty. It's like you want to have sex and you read 10 books about having sex. It's not going to work. Or swimming or riding a bike. You got to actually do it. You see. And then you build up confidence. Yeah. You can't have 100% certainty before you do it. Okay. What you should have is acceptance of the result. Just accept any result that there isn't. Look, what are you protecting anyways? What are you protecting? What are you protecting? Look, that's really everything. That's all I'm going to say here. I just want to make sure I'm doing things right. Okay. Our planet is millions of years old. Do you think that our species that is only a couple of thousands years old can affect the planet in such a bad way? What about magic? And can it fix it and join the conflict? The planet is, first of all, billions of years old. Okay. And our species that is only a couple of thousand years old can affect the planet in such a bad way. Okay. Have you ever heard of radioactivity? Have you ever heard of atomic bombs? And do you know that the waste, the radioactive waste that is being produced from these reactions is, hurtful to the environment for millions of years? So obviously we can do things that affect the environment very badly. Okay. Now climate change, look, bro. Climate change is not a hoax. Okay, I know what you're alluding to here. It's not a hoax. It's actual science. And yes, humanity can do that. Absolutely. But are you telling me that all the waste, the waste in the oceans or soil erosion and all of that stuff is not of our working or is not of our making? Soil erosion, by the way, is one of the biggest problems that we have in the environment and food supply. So yeah, of course. Of course. It's not a hoax, it's real. Climate change is real. And it's skeptics like you that are making it so hard to fucking fix this thing. Okay? Because your grandchildren are going to find a planet. If this is not fixed, your grandchildren are going to live on a planet that is not livable. Okay? I suffer from violent and graphic nightmares. I also astral project often. I can be confronting. And I've had bad luck in life, so I don't want to get caught on the bad side of a demon. Okay. Yeah, you make your own decisions, man. I'm not giving you advice here. I'm just stating my opinions. So, by the way, guys, if you can control your mind, you probably shouldn't do this stuff. Okay. I hear this oftentimes when people tell me about that they suffer from these depressions or nightmares or whatever. Okay. Now, first of all, the question is always, are you sane? Are you a sane person? If you're a sane person, okay, go practice magic. It's fine. But if you struggle with controlling your own mind, anyways, you probably shouldn't do this. You shouldn't be in magic at all. Okay, you should be able to um, stop negative thoughts. So let me tell you, Lefty, why are you trying to control other people through your mind, through magic and through energy, if you can't control your own? Right? People are always trying to affect other people, make other people do things, when in reality they can't even control themselves. Okay, so the stuff that I or what I always say is that people want to put love spells on people and pretend that they can control other people's emotions, but they can't even control their own weight, meaning what goes into their own mouth. And that is not legit. That makes no sense, does it? So self-control comes before control over others and everything else. Yeah, that's the key. It was called global warming before it was called climate change. That should say enough. No, what is it? No. What does it say? Why does it say enough? Climate change and global warming, couldn't that be the same thing? I mean, the consequences are the same, right? That should say enough. Subterfuges in language like that are almost always an iffy sign. Yeah, you're probably also a believer in QAnon, right? By the way, all oil companies in the 50s bragged about melting icebergs. So what? Is that an argument? You're making no points here. I know you try to disprove climate change here, Mr. Scientist. Come on. You probably believe that Trump is saving the children too, right? The Great Awakening. Mm, man. Okay. How many videos will be posted on YouTube of your podcast, Bodhisattvas? As many as we do. The first one will take place on Sunday, next Sunday, in 2 days. And I don't know, however long we feel is necessary. You know? The point is, I never do anything in my life that I don't want to do. So it might be that in 3 months I lose interest in it. You know, who knows? But for now, I'm really stoked. For now, I want to do it. Okay. I'm doing shadow work at the moment, getting rid of a lot of trauma and grief. That's good. Which car are you getting? Let me guess, Aston Martin. No, I'm getting a Porsche 911. I just ordered it this week. Porsche 911. Yeah, Carrera. How do you know I like Aston Martins? Did I say that on a live stream before? I actually love Aston Martin, but I didn't get one. Got a Porsche. So excited for your podcast, learning about Saint Germain and the Violet Flame. Yeah, that's gonna be the first exercise. The first episode. We're gonna record it on Sunday, and it's probably gonna be up on Monday or even Sunday night. This year has been highly energetic. I look forward to 2021. Yeah, me too. It's gonna be normal right around June 2021. I mean, the energies this year, astrologically, were a little bit crazy. The Saturn, Jupiter, and Saturn conjunction that we had. No, I'm sorry. Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter. And that didn't happen for the last 360 something years. So the first time in 360 years, there was that much chaos here on this planet, and it's going to change next year for sure. Yeah. I did a strategy session with a couple of people. I offered that in my group, the Grail Inner Circle. I think it was late August or something like that. Yeah, late August. And I told them that I was actually hit by 2020, even though I should have known. I should have known. Pandemic, like some real big stuff. But I didn't do enough divination in late 2019. So I was not prepared, So for the coming year, and for the rest of the year, I then wanted to be prepared, and I did a lot of divination. And I predicted that Trump would, I didn't predict that he would get COVID, but I predicted that something would happen to him in October that would affect him and his chances of re-election. Now, of course, not only that event affected his chances of re-election, but I said that this was something about to happen and that's what I said in late August. And I also predicted that he would not be re-elected. And after that, there are a couple of other things that happened. And based on all of that, I gave those people investment advice or tips on where to put their money. I'm not a financial advisor. I don't give investment advice. All I told them is, this is what I'm doing. And I've been sending them lists with stocks that they should invest in, and that includes stop and loss. Okay, so when they should get in, entry points, and when they should get out. Okay, so all of that stuff based on what I know and what I was able to divine and talk to spirits and shit like that. This year has been highly energetic. Okay, what are your experiences with Ganesha, Lord Brahma? Have you ever summoned these gods? Yeah, but it's not like an evocation. You're more like you can invoke them, but you don't evoke Ganesha. It doesn't feel right, Yeah, I did many times, and look, I posted a video a long time ago. I don't know if you watched it. It was called Trapping Minds or something like that. It was actually a ritual with Ganesha, and it showed how I trapped the mind of somebody using his help. How would you go about healing someone of a chronic illness with magic? You got to remove the blocks in their own mind to healing. Healing is built into the body, you see. when you heal somebody, all you're doing is you're helping them remove the blocks to the self-healing that takes place in the body. Okay, so there's something in their mind that is preventing them from healing. Hey, bro, do you believe that there's reptilians living among us? There are many videos online showing many of these celebrities, elite shape-shifting in the face. How's your Casanova path working going? It's going pretty good. Going pretty good. Guys, if you missed out on the Casanova course, damn, I mean, it was so good. Is somebody here who got the Casanova course? Can you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10? Is it, just say X out of 10. What number out of 10 is it? If somebody is on who got the Casanova course. It was so good, man. It is so good. Nobody? Okay, well, nobody's on. Got it. Can you cure disease that has no cure with magic, like ALS, for example? I don't know what ALS is. I'm convinced that the body can heal anything, but it's self-healing. Magic is only there to remove the blocks to the healing. See? MFO says 10 out of 10. Thank you. Thanks for the stream. You're very welcome. I think climate change is real. I mean, those changes in popular terms usually indicate conflicting agendas, and that climate change is usually used by groups who want to make it seem less serious. Okay, I guess. All right. Yeah. You mean like Orwell? Like changing the meaning of certain words? Maybe. Message deleted by the Google moderator team. Wow. Automatically, not bad. Okay, what does it mean to be a black magician as opposed to a white magician? Do you think these terms have an inherent smack of racism? No, I don't. No. Seriously? I don't even know if I should answer this, bro. But I told you before. I told you, man. A lot of people think that black magicians. Okay, yeah, I see you're a black magician. Sounds like African American magician. Come on, man. Are you kidding me? No, it has nothing to do with the color of your skin. It has to do with your affiliation with certain energies and left-hand path, right-hand path, and all that. And no, it has nothing to do with race at all. No. Okay. I know that you know a lot about Illuminati or 1% community, but you never talk about these things. Why? Because it attracts the wrong crowd. And what is it going to do for you? What are you going to do about it? What's it going to do? I'm not here to I'm here to educate. I'm not here to entertain. Okay. So you can watch that shit somewhere else, you know. And I'm sure there are people that know more about the Illuminati than myself. So why would I entertain that? I'm here to educate. I'm here to talk about what I know. Okay? For the rest, you can go somewhere else. Seriously, I mean, see, there's this funny meme that I've seen recently, and it's in regards to QAnon, which is bullshit, by the way. But there's a woman sitting on a toilet seat, looking at her phone, and she's like, "I'm saving the children." Okay, it's a good metaphor, right? People that talk about the Illuminati are usually just doing that. They're talking. But look, I mean, the world is about consciousness. People can only be controlled because they are not aware of what they are and who they are. You see, they're not self-aware enough in terms of their spiritual nature. So if you want to work against a system, or if you want to, let's say, help liberate humanity, you don't go against institutions. That's stupid. You go for liberating people's consciousness. There's no benefit in exposing things. Well, yeah, we all know that the world is fucked up. Maybe it's, maybe some people know a little bit more about how fucked up it is, and some know a little bit less about it. But I believe there's nobody in this world that is above the age of, I don't know, 10 that thinks that everything is just perfect in this world, right? Yeah, we all know the world is fucked up, but what are you going to do about it? Just looking at how fucked up it is not going to change anything. So what you're going to have to do is liberate your consciousness. And by the way, see, the most productive way to deal with all of this stuff is, when I say the stuff, I mean conspiracies and all this other stuff is, see, when you look at the world, there's always a small percentage that benefits from it. And I'm not talking about the Illuminati here. I'm talking about, let's say, what always struck me, and what always was confusing to me, is why so many people that, supposedly can use divination, and they can look into the future, and they can talk to spirits and all of that, have a problem making money, right? It should be relatively easy to call up a spirit or to do some divination and figure out how you can benefit from developments in the stock market, for instance, or in the economy as a whole, right? You should be able to do that to an extent, right? And that's what I did. That's what I still do. Like I said, the strategy session with all those people, where I gave them all of that information, and it works for them. So what I'm saying is, what stops you from using that same knowledge? The Illuminati call themselves Illuminati because they're illuminated. They have more knowledge than the public or the general population, right? Well, they definitely don't have more knowledge than you, if you're able to look into the future and then talk to spirits and whatnot. Okay, so I wouldn't even worry about that shit, because it's not going to do anything good for you at all. It's not going to help you. Focus on the things that you can control. That's all you need to do. I can't wait for a mentor update. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. Don't worry. Don't say. Can a certain religious belief create a projected afterlife of that religious belief? Yes. I'm sorry, Lola. I meant the context of black is evil, magic, and white is good magic. Very superficial description, but that's more what I meant. Yeah. So you mean that everything negative is associated with black market, like this, like that? Yeah, okay. Well, I can see that. I can see that. I mean, if everything negative that you talk about is black, it's going to be hard to associate black people with positive things, right? So is that what you're saying? Black market, black budget, black government, black. Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, everything that black usually has a negative connotation. When we look at how it's used in the language. That's true. Black people, black male. Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if that's intentional, but yeah, I can see your point. I can see your point. It's true. But I like being a black magician, so I'm not going to change that. How can I apply a target's what? How can I apply a target cigarette butt to a lust spell? I mean, do I burn it or something? No, you use it as a. You can use it as a psychic link. It's connected to the energy of the target. How does the spirit teach us? What actually is a path working, and how do they teach you? Well, a path working is like this. You essentially call the spirit up first, okay? And you commune with the spirit. Communing with the spirit means you invoke it, okay? Or you can just, I mean, at first I would invoke it. I invoke the spirit. You invoke the spirit, and as you let the energy affect you, meditation is going to affect your thoughts, your mental images, your how you feel, and you let it affect your internal reality. That's how you get a feel and an understanding of what that spirit is like, right? And then you evoke it and use its power to manifest something. Okay. The next step is then to um, since you have invoked that spirit, now you know what that feels like, and then you can internally shift into that energy and use it yourself. And then you've made that power your own. A spirit is only something that teaches you how to use that energy yourself, you see. And along the way, this is a very short version of the process that I gave you, but along the way, you get teachings about the expertise that spirit has. Okay, they all have very deep knowledge about a specific area of life and the universe, and you ask them about that. Lust spell, Sharon. Yeah, lust spell. I meant the same thing. It's the same answer. Miss Tracy Joe Hill. That's a. Where do I remember that name from? You've been on these streams often, right? Is it possible with magic spirits to master a particular subject or have rapid learning abilities? Yeah. Yeah. It is. There are spirits that teach that how to learn faster from the Mercury sphere. For sure. Miss Tracy Joe Hill, yes, you're the one with the Joes. Got it. Yes. I remember. Is it possible with magic spirits? Okay, got that. When it comes to gaining control over the subconscious mind, how would you reprogram it? Just talk to yourself. Talk to yourself in a certain way. What is your interpretation? Or rather, the subconscious has certain interpretations about the world. It interprets things all the time. Okay. And those interpretations are neural networks, you could say. Okay. When you fire something, it wires together. Okay. Meaning the habits of thought and the habits of interpretation are literally just that. They're habits, and they're thoughts that you have thought many, many times. Therefore, they're very strong. They have a hold of you. Okay? So you got to retrain yourself by reinterpreting things, and you got to do it for a long time. You got to do it intentionally, and then the new program will eventually become stronger than than the old one, and it's going to take over. You should always talk to yourself in the best way possible, in the most empowering way possible, in the most kind way possible, because the world's not going to give you kindness. Let's be honest, okay? The world's not kind. So you gotta be your own friend. You gotta be your own best friend, essentially, okay? And you should control your mind in that way. You got any jokes today, Miss Tracy Joe Hill? When it comes to gaining control, hold on. I've been studying ceremonial magic for a while now. Little practice. From your experience, is this form of magic a good starting place, or should I start elsewhere? You should start with Magic Mentor. So to say. Magic Mentor is on my website, grailoftheserpent.com. Sign up for that. See, this is what happens when you're bald. You're just so happy that you got some hair to comb, you know? So take advantage of every little hair in your face to do that. Okay. If someone already knows that I practice magic, can I still cast a love spell without her knowing that I did? Yeah, definitely. Of course. Hey, Frankie was right about the affirmations. They've been working for me. You're welcome. Is weed detrimental towards spiritual growth? I think so, yes. Frank Ubina Tatankisi, you mentioned how you speak to a muerto daily. Would you say the Palo tradition is what you resonate most with, and or the divination? Thank you. No, it's not what I resonate most with. And I also don't talk about Palo because that's a personal practice. Is that you, Nicole? Is that Nicole? Astro Priestess. Is your name Nicole? Can a spell be casted to pass the exams if someone is not prepared at all to get successful rituals? Well, you're probably not going to pass the exam, but I tell you what. Let me give you one example. There was one instance. An ex-girlfriend of mine. She was in college or university, as it's called here, and she had an exam coming up, and she was 100% convinced that she would fail. 100%. She didn't know anything about this fucking subject, and she didn't study. She didn't work on it, but I don't know what went wrong. I guess she was too nervous. Okay, and she was like, "Okay, can you help me with this? Let's do a ritual." And I evoked a demon from the Mercury sphere, and I asked him to help her pass that test. Okay, here's what happened. She went to take the exam, and she came back home, head down. I was like, no way I passed. Fuck, I answered like 2 questions out of, I don't know, 50. No way I passed. No way. Okay. Well, we already thought that she, wouldn't pass. Here's what happened. The next day, the computer system crashed. The computer system crashed, and when they got it back up, she ended up in the top 2 of the results. She was way up there. So she passed, you know. So it's not that she really passed the exam because she obviously didn't know what the fuck she was doing. But the computer system had her as passing. So that's, by the way, often how you will get results for your magic. It's not necessarily always what you expect, because the spirits they have a broader view, so they know exactly what to influence and stuff like that. So that's why it's very helpful to use spirits as well, because they see more avenues on how you could make the things happen that you want. See? Yeah. Is it okay to move or open eyes in a trance? It feels like my ears gonna explode when I do. Your ears are gonna explode? Hold on. Is it okay to move or open my eyes in a trance? It feels like my ears are gonna explode when I do. Yeah, you can do whatever. Sure, you can open your eyes in meditation. Do not make your ears explode. It's funny. Mm, okay. All right, guys. I hope you got something out of this. And we'll talk to you soon. Peace. End stream. Ended.